So, is XRP still a smart investment? For years, this one question has practically split the crypto world in half. On one side, you have the grand vision, a digital token built to rewire global finance, making cross-border payments faster and cheaper than we ever thought possible. You see the headlines about big-name partnerships and huge legal wins that seem to promise a future of mainstream glory. But then there's the other side, the brutal price swings, those long, frustrating periods where the chart moves sideways, and a cloud of uncertainty that keeps even seasoned investors on edge. You're stuck between the dream of what could be and the reality of a very risky trade. Well, you asked for the real story, and that's what we're here to deliver. Today, we're going to cut through the hype. We'll lay out the powerful arguments for why XRP could be a fantastic long-term hold, but we'll also stare down the undeniable risks that make it such a volatile gamble. We'll look at the technical battle raging right now and explore what it would actually take for XRP to break out. By the end of this, you'll have a clear, balanced framework to decide if XRP is the right move for your money. To really get the argument for XRP, you have to start with its job description. Unlike thousands of other cryptos that were born out of pure hype, XRP was designed for a specific purpose, to be a bridge currency. Its entire goal is to replace the ancient, slow, and expensive SWIFT system that banks have relied on for decades to move money around the world. Think about it. Sending money from the US to Japan today can take days and get nibbled on by fees from several banks along the way. The XRP ledger is built to settle that same transaction in about 3 to 5 seconds, for pennies. This isn't just some cool tech idea, it's the core business model of Ripple, the company behind XRP. For years, the biggest storm cloud hanging over XRP was the massive lawsuit from the US Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. The case, which kicked off in December 2020, accused Ripple of an illegal securities sale, and that uncertainty absolutely crippled XRP's growth. Exchanges delisted it, and big money institutions wouldn't touch it. However, that chapter is finally over. In August 2025, the legal war ended with a settlement. While Ripple paid a penalty, the courts had already handed them a huge win, ruling that XRP itself, when sold on public exchanges, is not a security. That legal clarity was the green light the bulls had been waiting for. The most important development has been the race to launch spot XRP exchange-traded funds, ETFs. Following the legal settlement, a wave of major asset managers filed applications to create these funds. An ETF is a regulated, easy-to-use product that lets both huge financial players and everyday investors get exposure to XRP without the headache of crypto wallets and private keys. The approval of the first US spot XRP ETF in November 2025 was a landmark moment, and it started attracting serious cash from day one. In fact, several more have launched since, including from major players like Grayscale, Franklin Templeton, and 21 Shares. Some analysts estimate that this new wave of ETFs could pull in between $6.7 billion and $8 billion in new money by the end of 2026, creating steady buying pressure. Beyond the ETFs, Ripple's own ecosystem is firing on all cylinders. The company has been rolling out its own stablecoin, pegged to the US dollar, which recently gained regulatory approval in key financial centers like Abu Dhabi. This signals that traditional finance is warming up to Ripple's network, where XRP can act as the super-fast, low-cost bridge between all these different currencies. For the bulls, the picture is simple. The biggest legal threat is gone, the doors to Wall Street are wide open, and the technology is built to solve a multi-trillion-dollar problem. They see an asset that's finally moving from pure speculation to real-world utility. Alright, let's flip the coin. For every bull with a dream, there's a bear with a spreadsheet full of concerns, and every smart investor needs to hear them out. While the long-term vision is exciting, the short-term reality for XRP is a story of volatility and technical trouble. As of early December 2025, XRP is in a tough spot. The price has been struggling, recently dipping below the $2 mark after a sharp drop. It keeps trying and failing to break through a heavy resistance zone between $2.16 and $2.38. This price action shows a market in conflict where good news is being met with a wall of selling. In fact, technical analysts have pointed to a death cross forming on the charts, where a short-term price average crosses below a long-term one, a classic, though not perfect signal of bearish momentum. If XRP can't hold its critical support level around 180 to 2.0, the bears warn the price could fall back to levels like 175 or even lower. Beyond the charts, there are some fundamental issues that have been following XRP for years. The big one is centralization. The company, Ripple, still holds a huge chunk of the total XRP supply in escrow. Every month they release some of it, and while they say it's to provide a predictable supply, critics argue it gives the company way too much control over the market. Just this month, on-chain data showed Ripple moving 1 billion XRP before locking 700 million back into escrow, a routine that continues to fuel this debate. Then there's the competition. XRP had a head start on cross-border payments, but it's not the only horse in the race anymore. Projects like Stellar, XLM, which was ironically co-founded by an ex-Ripple guy, are chasing the same goal. And newer, faster blockchains like Solana can also handle high-speed, low-cost transactions, making it a much more crowded field. Finally, even Ripple's success doesn't guarantee a higher XRP price. Many of Ripple's big partners use its payment messaging system without ever touching the XRP token. And with Ripple launching its own stablecoin, some analysts are asking a very sharp question. Could big institutions just use Ripple's stablecoin instead, cutting out the need for XRP as the bridge asset? The bears say that until using XRP becomes the absolute standard for all of Ripple's partners, its real-world use remains partly unproven. For the bears, XRP is an asset fighting an uphill technical battle, dogged by centralization questions, and playing in an increasingly competitive space where its starring role isn't guaranteed. We've laid out the bull case and the bear case. It's a classic showdown between a long-term vision and the short-term reality. This is where the conversation gets interesting, and I want to hear from you. Are you in the XRP army, holding on for dear life? Or are the risks just too much to swallow? Drop your price target for XRP in the comments below. Your perspective helps everyone in this community think smarter, so don't be shy. So, where does all this leave the price? The battle for XRP is really being fought on two different timelines: the daily skirmish and the long-term war. In the short term, it's all about the technicals. As of early December 2025, XRP is in a fragile position, trading right around the psychological 2.00 mark. This area is a key support zone where buyers have historically jumped in. If that support breaks, the path down toward $1.80 is wide open. On the flip side, the major hurdle is that resistance wall between roughly $2.20 and $2.46. That's not a random number. On-chain data shows a huge amount of XRP was bought in this range, which means a lot of people are just waiting to sell and get their money back. A strong, confident close above $2.46 would be the first real sign that the bulls are taking back control, possibly opening up a rally toward the 3.0 range. But for now, this is a trader's market, full of choppy price action and high-stakes volatility. The long-term picture, though, is where the wild price predictions live. These forecasts aren't based on daily charts, but on massive shifts in the financial world. The most bullish analysts believe that if XRP captures even a tiny slice of the trillions of dollars flying across borders daily, its price has to go significantly higher. Predictions from this camp are all over the place, with some seeing a path to between 5 and 15. One analyst, Egrag, has even put out targets as high as 27,000, though that would depend on a perfect storm of bullish conditions. Other forecasts are much more grounded. For example, a growth model from Kraken projects a price of around $2.60 by 2030, assuming a steady 5% annual growth. Other analysts see a base case of $3 to $6, with a more aggressive bull scenario pushing toward $10 or even $20 if ETF inflows are massive and sustained. This is the great divide for any XRP investor. Are you playing the short-term game, buying at support and selling at resistance? Or are you a long-term believer, stacking up on dips with faith that the fundamental use case will eventually win out? Your answer changes everything. So, let's circle back to the big question. Is XRP a strong investment choice? The honest answer is, it completely depends on. There's no simple yes or no here. If you're a long-term holder, someone who truly believes in the vision of revolutionizing global payments, who gets the tech, and who has the guts to ride out some seriously gut-wrenching volatility, then XRP offers a compelling, utility-focused story that's hard to find elsewhere. The end of the SEC lawsuit and the arrival of institutional-grade ETFs have cleared the way for a credible path to mainstream adoption. But if you're a short-term trader, XRP is a battlefield. It's an asset that swings wildly on news, is currently fighting a technical downtrend, and demands serious discipline to trade well. The war between the bulls and bears is playing out in real time on the charts, and there are no easy victories. Ultimately, whether XRP is worth your investment comes down to your personal strategy, your time horizon, and your appetite for risk. The bull case is powerful, but it's a long-term bet, not a get-rich-quick scheme. The bear risks are very real and are controlling the price action right now. If this breakdown helped you see both sides of the XRP coin more clearly, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We put out honest, no-hype analysis like this every week to help you navigate the wild world of crypto. And please, drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Thanks for watching, and as always, invest wisely.